My esteemed colleagues, I come to you once again to proclaim a message, a call to arms, so to speak. It's about the U.S. energy policy. And I apologize if this quasi-speech and presentation is a bit awkward at times. It's because this was meant to be done on a PowerPoint with regard to the visual aids, so forgive me if they're a bit awkward. Without further ado, according to the CIA World Factbook, the United States consumes more oil each day than any other nation in the world. Every day we use 19,150,000 barrels of oil. Let's do some math. I know how much you hate that, but it's important to establish the problem. Each barrel of oil costs between $100 and $125. We use a middle price of $115 to be fair. Plug that into the calculator, multiply it by 19,150,000. Multiply that answer by 0.49. Why 0.49? Because we import 49% of our oil. See? That's how much we spend on foreign oil each day. Multiply that by 365 to see how much we spent last year alone on foreign oil. That comes out to over 365 billion bucks. Not exactly lunch change, is it? As a bonus, some of the nations that supply us with almost half our oil supply are not all that friendly to us. Check the pie chart. Recognize any of these names? Yeah. These names, you see, the familiar names, are the nations that we have an axe to grind with, and they have an axe to grind with us. Besides, fossil fuels are non-renewable resources that are impractical for long-term sustainability. The rate at which we consume them is far higher than the rate by which they are replenished. It makes no sense to keep tapping into a fleeting resource. Simply put, our current energy policy sucks. We spend way too much on imported oil. We also give leverage to foreign nations by relying on them for an essential commodity. They can influence our oil supply and tamper with our economy. The ramifications are obvious. When was the last time gas cost you less than 2 dead presidents at the pump? Not since I was born, and that's over 18 years ago. Don't you want gas to be affordable again? I implore you to pay attention if your answer is yes. Well, I keep saying that energy policy sucks until I'm blue in the face. But that's not going to solve these two outright. In order to conquer this problem, we must attack it head-on, sector by sector. I propose a 3-step program to make the United States an energy superpower. Step 1 will require that the USA cease and desist from importing oil from foreign nations. Why? Take a good look at this graph right here, this little pie chart. This is from 2005, by the way. Notice which sector uses the most oil. By a huge majority. That's transportation. What does transportation encompass? It encompasses everything from your 2010 Shelby GT500 to the tankers that ship the oil to us. If it has a motor and it moves, it falls under transportation. The sooner we stop wasting money on importing the barrels of oil, the sooner we can end our dependence on other nations for the oil. Doing this will drastically slash oil usage for the transportation sector. It's not an instantaneous solution or transition, but it's one we cannot afford to forego. Step 2 will require massive investments into practical alternatives to fossil fuels. These include, but are not limited to, nuclear fission, preferably with thorium, hydroelectric, geothermal, agricultural biomass, solar, and biofuels. When used in conjunction with one another, the benefits are enormous. For one, we will be able to provide power for the residential and commercial sectors in a completely sustainable way. As a bonus, we'll save more oil from being used needlessly in the transportation sector, as we don't need to import foreign oil to provide electricity and power for the residential and commercial sectors. Step 3 will involve continued investment, research, and development of alternative energy sources. This is due to the fact that we will never be able to completely wean ourselves off fossil fuels. The USA has a lot of privately owned automobiles, and these burn a lot of gasoline. The transportation sector will always need oil. But we can bring that oil requirement down to a sustainable level and save a lot of money in the process. There is no excuse to wait to implement this policy. Alternatives to fossil fuels have come a long way since their inception. Finally, we have the tools to build a new United States of America, the most effective and energy-independent USA yet. So you may be thinking, wow, James, that's all fine and dandy that you just laid out the groundwork for a new U.S. energy policy. How does this affect me? I have 2 words for you. Gas prices. Aren't you sick of paying upwards of $4 for a single gallon of gas? Not to mention, there is plenty of money to be made in alternative energy. It involves extensive use in science and technology, both of which are the best fields for a college major today. Simply put, there's no reason to object to this plan if you're looking for long-term efficiency and sustainability. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and stick it to OPEC. Get out there and stick it to Venezuela. Get out there and fix our energy policy. Fix all of us, whether we like to admit it or not. I rest my case.